we spend a lot of time throughout the course of the year preparing for that game last week, and you commit a little bit of time each day during spring ball and fall camp so that you're prepared for that drastic change getting ready for Georgia Tech. And now it's really shaking that out, getting back to our normal fundamentals. I mean, everything changed, our stances, our keys, everything that we do. So it's just getting back to what we really train to do year-round.
I noticed that the defensive ends were standing up. Was that something you guys did in the past against Georgia Tech?
It is, yeah. The last few years, that's something that we've done, and we carried that forward. You may have noticed, we had a little different front, so, Weaver might have been more pronounced a few times, the field end, him and Folston, based on some things we were doing, but it's something we've usually carried.
3 fumble recoveries for Weaver through 3 games. Is football, is that a skill, or is that something that's more just kind of could happen for anyone given on the circumstances?
Well, I think the thing that jumps out on film, and I made this point to the guys in the room, good things happen to people that always run to the ball, and that's the biggest lesson to learn. And I think our guys are doing a good job of that, but Weaver's doing a great job of that, and I think if all our guys can all do that all the time, then we'll continue to take advantage of those moments.
Have there been any D linemen you've been around in your career that were sort of like that just always seem to find the ball and recover a lot of fumbles like that?
Been doing this a long time, so I'd be speaking out of turn. I'd end up making a name and get called on it later, so not that I recall.
What does Weaver's overall skill set? I mean, you stood him up, you flexed him out. He does a lot of different things. How is he he's always been a good athlete, but how has he become a player that you feel comfortable doing multiple things with?
Well, he's extremely intelligent. Here's someone who was pre-med and decided to change to business school, so his intelligence also carries over on the field and the way he prepares. He's always asking questions. He's ahead of things. He has thoughts on where he thinks our game plan might go. He's kind of in our heads as coaches. That kind of awareness as a defensive end gives you confidence in doing more things with him.
With Carolina and their tendency to spread it out, sort of the opposite of what Georgia Tech does, do you get the chance really to turn those defensive ends loose in a pass rush role and have to play in space more?
You do to a degree, but the RPO game, honestly, guys, and I wish I had a whiteboard in some ways, if you took the 2 guys that are close to the tackles and moved them out, and instead of being a pitch, now they run a bubble, instead of the quarterback in shotgun putting it in the belly of the running back, in Georgia Tech, they turn around. It's option football. It's not that much different. So if you fly up the field against a spread run game, you can get yourself in trouble. Also, in North Carolina, they've given up 0 sacks. They do a good job of getting rid of the ball. So, yes, we got a chance to get up the field more and run our vertical tracks, but we got to be smart about it also.
What have you seen from Patrick Jones on third downs kind of playing inside?
Well, I know the direction you're going, so is there another follow-up question you have?
No, that was it.
I love the way he's working. There's a couple of things that happened there on third down that extended drives. The last one was a tough one because he got his hand on the top of that guy's helmet, and he was playing hard, so I can't fault him for that other than try not to reach, put your chest on a guy's body. But love the way he's playing hard. We just got to get the penalties cleaned up so that we don't extend drives, which he will.
When you have 2 programs like Pitt and UNC that are really familiar with each other, but one is just always seems to come out on top. Can one program scheme, when they've had the same coaches there for a while, be a bad matchup for the other programs? System, what they want to do? Each
year is so different. You look at all 3 of those games were extremely close. They present a number of challenges. 17 is a great player. He had a kickoff return for a touchdown against us to start the game last year. He's all ACC special teams, and it's not so much that, to be honest with you. These are 2 teams that are fighting to keep their program working towards the next level. I think Coach Fedora is a great football coach. They've got good athletes there at North Carolina, and these are 2 teams that are fighting to climb the ladder in the ACC, and we have a ton of respect for them. But you look at those games, it's a play here or a play there that we've just got to do a better job, and hopefully this week we work towards doing that.
Last week you did run some odd. You don't have a 350-pound guy. What about your tackles? You said, okay, we think that those guys can do that.
Well, a lot of that comes down to strength, quickness, and leverage as well. Certainly a team that lives in the odd front is going to have bigger guys like you're referring to, but Jalen is, he's 285. We've got some guys that are right around that 300-pound mark, so they can do it as long as they use their quickness and their strength and their leverage to maintain what we want to get done at that 0 nose. And I mean, it's something that you could see from time to time mix in, not just against Georgia Tech, but anytime moving forward.
Running back 24 for UNC, they didn't have him last year.
Mm-hmm.
What stands out about him so far that he's had success through a couple games?
Physical, great balance. Kid that runs hard. He had one where ECU had him bottled up, and he ended up scooting out of there for 35, 40 yards. So a combination of vision, balance, and power are the things that stand out for him. And it's a nice 1-2 punch with him and number two. Number two, we feel like can really go. He's got good quickness and speed, and that whole lightning thunder thing that everyone talks about. You feel like UNC is establishing that a little bit.